Hey everyone. Hello.
Hey, Matt.
Hi everyone.
Mm, Okay, I'm gonna share the agenda that I don't think we have almost anything in there. Let's see. I'm sure folks have stuff they want to talk about. We can potentially go straight to items of interest, or we could keep this meeting short. Um, Anyone want to get us started?
I can go first. This is Justin. This is your routine update on CI/CD changes. We are now pretty much fully off of Circle CI. If you take a look at the spending, actually, I'm not sure if you'll have access to that. Why don't I share this? If we have, I should share my screen real quick. Oops. All right, you see the browser window. This is our spending on Circle CI. So this is looking good. This is nice and flat. So that's what money saved looks like. Recent changes to recent changes to GitHub Actions, CI/CD include no longer deferring till after a PR is approved to try to run acceptance and integration tests. The reason being that, how do I explain this? Well, first of all, we're not sure that it's necessary. Initially, that had been done to save some time. And instead, we have implemented concurrency checks. So if you do push changes to your branch, any in-flight tests will be canceled. Suites will get shut down that way. We've also stopped posting test results directly back to the PR, specifically for unit tests, acceptance tests, integration tests, and reference tests. The test results for any failing tests were pushed back to the PR. We don't do this anymore because the way that it was implemented left us open for a potential cache poisoning issue. And so in order to close that up, we've had to forfeit that functionality. If anybody really strongly misses that functionality, we can try to take another crack at it with a more dramatically refactored design to allow for it. But right now, It doesn't seem like a good trade-off. It doesn't seem like folks are getting the value out of it in exchange for potential cache poisoning issues. And lastly, you may notice that there is a eternal pre-release now floating around on the releases pages called develop. And that will have artifacts built every time there's a push to main and main is updated. So we plan here, consensus, we plan on using that to regularly update our nightly canaries that will always be running something off of main. Feel free to do whatever you like with those. Any questions, comments, concerns? Okay,
Love it.
that's it for CI/CD. Back to you, Matt.
One thing of note, Matt Whitehead, is we have a Snap server feature flag coming in the next release. I suggest you start to try to test it with QBFT and see if you notice any edge cases. Gary is the point of contact on that one. So when that next release goes out, the notes, I'm sure, will have more details, but you will hopefully be able to snap sync QBFT networks, and it should be way faster than fast sync. But we've only done moderate testing, so.
Great. Yeah, that's very exciting. So is that, I can't remember where we are with releases. Is there a 24.3.1 that's going to contain that?
In a perfect world, yes.
Yeah, that's great. Whenever it does come, it's great. There's no big push from us.
Yeah, no, it's coming soon. We want to get one fix for backward sync that was published last night as a draft PR, well, an open PR rather. So we want to try to get that in, and then well, still draft. It's completely irrelevant, but we want to try to get this PR in and then release.
Great. Okay. Yeah, it sounds great. And I can't remember, where does that leave checkpoint sync?
Still only, I mean, it's custom configurable. So for some reason, if you want to sync from a checkpoint on a private network, it's possible. You specify an epoch that you would like to sync from. I really don't know how that would work in the QBFT context, since you don't need the deposit tree. You could probably just like checkpoint sync from, if you don't care about block data, it'll just download world state, and then Kareem would actually be an interesting person to know about this, but I think you would just basically download the world state and you would download some blocks and then discard the rest. Kareem, the question was around what would happen if you use checkpoint sync on a private network. And I think the answer would be that if you don't care about old blocks, it doesn't really matter, correct?
Yeah, for me there is no problem. Yeah. The same as mainnet for, I think. But,
All right, cool.
Okay, maybe we'll try both. I guess they'll both be behind the same feature flag, will they? Like it'll just turn on both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the sync mode is independent of the sync. Like Snap Server as a client is independent of Snap Server as Snap Sync as a client is independent of Snap Sync as a server.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay, that's great. Yeah. Yeah. As soon as there's something there, we'll start having a play with it. Awesome.
Yeah, that'll be the next release.
but you need to define the good checkpoint. For example, for click, you cannot use the block you want. There is a history of the validator for each period, and you need to define a checkpoint at the beginning of a period for the click network, for example. So maybe there is some little things to do regarding a private network when you are choosing a specific block for the checkpoint sync.
Okay, that's great. Thanks. That's good to know. We'll focus on SnapSync. It's more a what do we start talking to our users about? And I think initially we'll focus on SnapSync. We'll maybe try checkpoint sync, but it's mainly just so I know what we can kind of start communicating to our users.
Yeah, I think Snap is the way to go. I wouldn't bother with the checkpoint sync because they probably need all the block history for RPC on a full node. So, yeah, I don't know how large these networks are. Anyone else have anything? Might be a short meeting today.
And I was just going to mention I raised an issue earlier. I hit an issue. Oh, sorry. Sorry, just happened to have lots of road noise go past. I raised an issue with the Shanghai QBFT support that went out in the last release, which I'm still investigating. So I'm trying to get to the bottom of that before to understand if blocks are being created incorrectly or imported incorrectly, because one is slightly more kind of problematic than the other. And I'm going to be at the DAS conference in London tomorrow, giving just a quick update on the enterprise roadmap, and talking through some of the features that went into 24.30. So just thought I'd mention that. Yeah.
Awesome. Anyone else have anything? Okay. Might be a short meeting today. I didn't read the antitrust notice, but it's there. So for the recording, it's great. The roadmap on the wiki is up to date for anyone also watching the recording. Of note, we have 2 new Swirled Labs contributors starting to work on EVM stuff. I think that's kind of all the fun news. The Denkun fork went well with Besu on mainnet. So kudos to the team. These are just kind of general updates. I'm trying to think for anyone that might get on the recording. Big disk saving stuff for users in the last release. Lots of performance improvements. Yeah, seems that's about it. All right, cool. I don't think we need to use any time to fill this space. I think we will come to the next contributor call, maybe with some different items to work on. I'm planning a large amount of changes around the plugin API. So Matt Whitehead, if you have any feedback on using or working with the plugin API, please send it to me. You can just Slack it or Discord or whatever. I'm just collecting changes to make to both the documentation, to the API itself, and around some material that we want to like generate around things like Linea, for example, or other plugins that we've been developing to try to encourage users.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. I'll give it some thought. I've kind of tinkered with it just to get an understanding of the basics, but not done much more than that. And we don't write any kind of proprietary plugins for anything at the moment. A colleague of mine was having a chat over one of the PRs around the allow deny list PR that's still around, issue that's still around. And there was some suggestion that maybe if he looks at that, it would be a good thing to write as a plugin. But I don't know if he's had any time to then actually go and look into that in detail. But I will just mention it to him in case he has, because he's probably the closest from our side of things who would have tried to actually use it, in earnest. So yeah, if anything comes to mind, I'll let you know.
Sounds good. All right. Good stuff. I will see you all around and on Discord.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Cheers.
Bye.